Hello, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. I am here. I will be solo, at least just for the beginning of the show. Jake will be joining shortly. He's got some stuff going on at home. But that said, we have a handful of Milwaukee Brewer games to discuss today. We have the fourth and fifth games of the Milwaukee Brewers series against the Cubs in Chicago from last Wednesday and Thursday. Then we have their three-game series from the Giants over the weekend and the first two games of the Diamondbacks series at home. To cover for the Brewers, and then switching to Badgers today. We have the second part of our, quote, primer. Today we will be going through the Badgers' schedule. We will be looking at their opponents and giving our head and heart record predictions as we do, and then also giving our bold predictions. If you are a Green Bay Packers fan, last night we did our Packers bold predictions, also to go with our Packers stat projections and our roster review, so check that out from last night. Other than that, we're going to hit the intro, and I'm going to get going on these first two Cubs games.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so looking at it, the Milwaukee Brewers in their five-game series against the Cubs, they only won 2 out of the 5. Jake and I kind of discussed this last week after the Brewers lost the second 2 games. So they won the opener, won the closer of that 5-game series. Jake and I kind of felt similarly that like 2 out of 5 games was acceptable in that series. 3 out of 5 games would have been fantastic, would have been the ideal scenario. Obviously, winning 5 out of 5 games is perfect, but that's not what we were expecting. Again, we stay optimistic and realistic. That's what we do. So I think realistically, a 5-game series, 3 on the road would have been acceptable. They got 2. Looking at last Wednesday's loss, I did not get to watch this one live. I was preparing for camping, which Jake knew, and that's also going to come into play when we get to the Giants games. But Brewers-Cubs, Game 4 from last Wednesday. My 3 biggest things, 2 of them on the pitching staff, 1 of them on the hitting. The Brewers at the plate did draw 3 walks in the second, didn't get any runs out of it, and that was the most base runners in an inning until they got to the 9th when they had 4. We've seen, and they talk about on the broadcast all the time about the 4-run innings that the Brewers have. Every time they do it, they bring up the stat. The Brewers have the most 4-run innings in the league. They have the most 4-run innings. They have the most 5-run innings. They bring it up all the time because the Brewers are so good at stacking runs that way. This game, they just didn't have that traffic stacking that we talk about so often. The Brewers only had 1 inning of 4 base runners in that entire game last Wednesday, and it was the 9th inning. They did score 1 run, but weren't able to come back and complete the comeback. That said, looking at the pitching staff, Jacob Mizorowski was okay. He was not good, not bad, I would say. His first 2 innings were 6 up, 6 down. However, he did allow 3 batted balls that were over 99 miles an hour off the bat. Getting into the bottom of the 3rd, his command did get a little loose. He allowed 2 batters to walk on 10 pitches combined, a 6-pitch walk and a 4-pitch walk. He did open this inning with back-to-back-to-back walks, but the 3rd one, I'm going to give credit to Matt Shaw. That was the 3rd at-bat of the inning. It was an 11-pitch at-bat that included 4 straight foul balls on 3-2 pitches. So that's a tip the cap to that. That's a tough at-bat by Matt Shaw against Jacob Mizorowski. But then after that, you get to Michael Busch, who followed those 3 walks with a 3-run double off of a fastball. That was on the outer edge, a well-placed pitch, I will say. But it was only in kind of a different type of way, only a 98.1 mile an hour fastball, which is not what we've become accustomed to seeing from Jacob Mizorowski. His velocity was down a little bit. Looking at after this, Jared Koenig in the bottom of the 8th, he gave up a leadoff home run again to Shaw, and it was a pretty good pitch, I thought. It was a 1-2 changeup that was below the zone, and Shaw went down and got it. I mean, it's credit to Matt Shaw. He had a good game. Just another kind of tip the cap situation, even though it unfortunately resulted in a Brewers loss. Going into Thursday afternoon, I was able to watch this game. Both teams grounded into a double play in the first inning. Top of the second with Christian Yelich on first. Bryce Terang destroyed a home run, kind of set the tone for the game. That was his 8th home run of August. A 108.2 mile an hour exit velocity into the wind for Bryce Terang. Jake and I have kind of talked about it. We haven't necessarily banged the drum about it, but we've talked about Bryce Terang having sneaky power. Bottom of the second, Quinn Priester had a lot of traffic, allowed 2 singles and a walk, had to throw 29 pitches, but did not give up any runs. That's obviously the big takeaway, is not giving up any runs. Had a clean third, a clean third in the fourth. He had a walk and a hit by pitch. In the fifth, he allowed a walk and a single. What I thought should have been a strikeout looking, did get a ground out. I think he got squeezed against Seiya Suzuki, who drew a walk, and with the bases loaded and 1 out, Nick Mears came in. Quinn Priester didn't have his best command on Thursday, but Nick Mears came in, got 2 flyouts that did let the Cubs get a run across their lone run that they scored. Grant Anderson came in for the 6th inning, and this is a trend that we are going to see continue for basically the entire rest of the Brewers games that we're talking about today. We're in a point where the Brewers are having to use the B bullpen in close games. And that's where the Brewers were in this one. Grant Anderson using the 6th inning, allowed a leadoff single to the number 6 hitter, but then got these 7, 8, and 9 hitters all out. That's a tough move by Murphy to essentially put Grant Anderson in versus the bottom of the order and just trusting that he can get you through an inning. That's really where the Brewers are. That's where they are in the Chicago series. It's where they are now in the Diamondback series. We saw it when we get to last night's game from Tuesday night against the Diamondbacks. The Brewers are at a point where they are taking inning by inning any innings that they can get from any of their pitchers. 1 inning at a time. That's really where the Brewers are going with their 19 games in 18 days. It is a very, very tough stretch. Top of the 7th, Andrew Vaughn had a 1-out walk that broke 13 batters straight retired by Imanaga. And I will say this, I think Imanaga was getting a pretty fair strike zone, but it felt like to me the Brewers were getting squeezed a little bit. The bottom of the 7th, Jared Koenig allowed a leadoff walk. Kyle Tucker lined out to Bryce Terang for a pretty easy double play. I would say that's bad base running by Michael Busch. Just a line drive right to Bryce Terang. I don't know why he's like 8 steps off the bag. That's just bad base running. Top of the 8th with 1 out, Andre Monasterio had a bloop single. Sal Frelick put a double into the right field corner. And Daddy Collins, as we're going to call him now that Isaac Collins is a dad, hit a single into right field, made the game 4-1, and that capped the scoring for the Brewers. Bottom of the 8th, another leadoff walk for the Cubs. Another walk brought the tying run to the plate with nobody out. Got a strikeout for the first out, got a strong fly out and a ground out, and Andrew Vaughn picked this ground ball and dove to first base, just seriously leaving it all out there. I respect Andrew Vaughn. I'm going to talk about him at the plate in a little bit in some of these other games, but I respect what Andrew Vaughn is doing out in the field as well. I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. When Rhys Hoskins is back and healthy, which is supposed to be soon, I don't know that there's a place on this team for Jake Bauers. I'm going to kind of preface that with something we'll talk about in one of the Giants games. But bottom of the 9th, Trevor McGill allowed a single, another leadoff runner, the 3rd straight from the 7th, 8th, and 9th, another leadoff runner, then got a 3-pitch strikeout, got Kyle Tucker to fly out, and then facing Seiya Suzuki again for the final out, got a soft grounder to Caleb Durbin cut off, and then threw out on the run. Another really tough play, honestly. That's one of those things that you only really kind of notice it if it doesn't go well. But a really tough play to essentially throw off of your right foot while throwing with your right hand. It's like trying to take a same hand, same foot layup. It feels awkward, and it's one of those things that's tough to do. So I credit Caleb Durbin for making that play. This was the Milwaukee Brewers' 80th win of the season. Now, this is where I would be relying on Jake if he jumps in soon. Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, I was up north with the family camping, so I really didn't get to watch the first and second games of the Giants series. All I really know is that William Contreras had his first career walk-off home run against the Giants on Friday night, and Saturday was pretty much just a toss it out the window kind of game. That's one of those 7-1 games where you just say, all right, we'll get them tomorrow. Let's just get through this game healthy and, with as many of our guys getting rest as possible. Then you get to Sunday. Sunday was a tough game. Matos apparently just came in and decided he was going to go full Shohei Ohtani for this series. 2-run home run opened the scoring in the second inning. He really did have a great series. Chad Patrick did strike out for the first 5 batters for the first 5 outs that he recorded. The 2 runs in the second were the only runs that he gave up over 5 1/3 innings pitched, with the 4 hits, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Really solid outing. Helps push back the entire staff by a day, so that did help 5 1/3 innings. Like I said, with this stretch, taking game by game, inning by inning, every inning is being looked at like, how can we get through this inning? The Brewers really they have 5 more days, 5 more games until this stretch is over. I'm pretty sure it's 5 more days. I got to double check their schedule, but they're close to finishing the 19 and 18 days. Just want to pull it up and make sure that I'm getting the right off day. I don't know if they're off next Tuesday or if it's next Thursday. Okay, it is next Tuesday. That's kind of what I thought. It's a weird split series with the Phillies, but I think it's because they're on national TV for one of those days. Oh, it's for Labor Day. That's why. So Brewers will have a day off. Next Tuesday is their next day off. But again, like I said, this 19 games in 18 days stretch has 6 more games on it. 3 games against the Blue Jays, 1 against the Phillies, and then those 2 more against the Diamondbacks to finish up this 4-game series. Back to Sunday. Nick Mears came in the top of the 6th with 1 out, the tying run on second base. Got 3 sliders for a strikeout. Really nasty pitches by Nick Mears. His slider is very, very good. Then got Chapman looking with a painted fastball. Nick Mears, when he's at his best, is a guy that I trust in very high leverage situations. Shelby Miller came in. He got a clean 7th inning. Top of the 8th inning, Andre Monasterio laid off with a walk. The Brewers had led off with a single. Brewers had a 1-out single, but no damage to go out with 2 strikeouts. Trevor McGill pitched the top of the 9th and was up 0-2, not 2-0, 0-2 on Chapman, allowed a 2-2 double. Then a 9-pitch at-bat ended in a strikeout. Matos naturally gets a single, and the Giants brought Devers to the pinch hit, and Trevor McGill struck him out on 4 pitches. Just nothing but gas. No curveball, only fastballs, nothing but gas. Trevor McGill striking out Rafael Devers. That was a good moment where I was like, all right, the Brewers are going to win this game. Unfortunately, against the left-handed hitter, Jung-Hoo Lee got up to a quick 3-0 lead on him, walked him on 5 pitches with a base open. I don't necessarily hate that with a right-handed hitter on deck, but 2-out single gave the Giants a 4-3 lead. Trevor McGill just couldn't catch his curveball at the bottom of the zone. This was his 3rd blown save in 4 appearances, including back-to-back, only the 5th all year. Now, I didn't mention Abner Uribe in the 8th inning, allowing a leadoff single and a 1-out single, did have 2 strikeouts, didn't allow any runs. But if we're being objective, I really believe that the Trevor McGill shouldn't be the closer situation is a matter of recency bias. If I'm being honest, like I said, 3 blown saves in 4 appearances is obviously tough, but if it's 3 out of the 5 for the entire season so far, I don't feel that that's a large enough issue. I feel like that's kind of just a rough stretch, not like a panic button situation. Also, like I mentioned with Abner Uribe, he did not get through the 8th inning clean on Sunday either. He allowed the 2 base runners, did have the 2 strikeouts, which was obviously very important for that inning. But Abner is not without his days where he does not have his best command either. Bottom of the fifth inning, Brewers did have a leadoff home run by Caleb Durbin that put the Brewers in front. Isaac Collins getting Rookie of the Year attention, but so should Caleb Durbin. The Brewers realistically have 4 guys who could all get Rookie of the Year consideration, being Caleb Durbin, obviously Isaac Collins, Jacob Mizorowski, and Chad Patrick, all guys that are probably going to get votes for Rookie of the Year. Obviously, they're not all going to get a bunch of first place votes, except maybe Isaac Collins. I think he's the main guy that has a shot to win Rookie of the Year, but all 4 of those guys are going to be in consideration. We get to the bottom of the 9th, and the Brewers down 1, 4-3. They pinch hit Isaac Collins and Jake Bauers in the 8 and 9 spots. Isaac Collins had a tap out. This is where I feel, and Jake Bauers came in and struck out, and I really feel that when Rhys Hoskins is healthy, that Jake Bauers is going to be DFA'd. It's unfortunate. Like, he's hit some really good home runs for the Brewers. He does offer a little bit of positional versatility, but the ability to play some outfield spots. But I think with the emergence of Isaac Collins, with Blake Perkins being healthy, Jackson Chourio being back sometime during the Toronto or Philadelphia series, that the Brewers have enough outfield coverage that they don't need to keep a roster spot for Jake Bauers once Rhys Hoskins is healthy. So I do feel that he's going to be the one, kind of the odd man out. After those 2 outs, Sal Frelick did have a 2-out single, kind of gave the Brewers some life, but then Anthony Siegler struck out looking, and it's one of those things where you got to just protect the zone. And he wasn't able to do that, and it's unfortunate that the Brewers did lose on the Euchre Celebration Day. I'll say I'm not absolutely not using it as an excuse, but I will say that it's possible that it was a bit of a distraction. And again, I'm not saying that there's anything bad about it. I'm not saying, again, that that's an excuse to lose a game that you were winning going into the 9th inning. Again, if you look at the Brewers' overarching numbers on the season, their numbers are still extremely favorable for entering late game situations with leads. It's not something that I'm pushing the panic button on in any situation, much less when you're in the middle of 19 games in 18 days. And I'm going to keep hammering on it. I understand there's going to be people, well, you just can't use 19 games in 18 days as an excuse for everything. It's an insanely hard thing to do. You look at, obviously the NFL is the NFL. The level of contact and competition is not the same, but obviously they don't play more than 4 days apart. You look at the NBA, they don't like playing 2 games in 2 days or 3 games in 4 days, much less playing every day, which already comes with its own, levels of focus and routine. But to play 19 games in 18 days, and one of the doubleheaders that you were scheduled to play gets pushed back a day, all of that flux, in addition to dealing with injuries, new injuries popping up during this stretch, like DL Hall, Trevor McGill went on the 15-day injured list today. Joey Ortiz going on the injured list. Obviously, Chourio and Hoskins already were on the injured list. But, I mean, this is a very, very tough stretch for the Brewers. Honestly, if we get to the end of these 19 games and the Brewers go 10-9, even 9-10 in those 19 games, I think you're going to be okay with it. Obviously, you want them to win, 12, 13 games out of those 19 just because of how hot they were in July and August coming into this stretch. But if we're being realistic, for them to win any sort of double-digit amounts of games in this 19-game stretch, which, again, I can't impress how difficult that has to be to stay focused, to stay healthy, to stay ready, and to be coming into all these games feeling good. I guarantee you there is not a player in the Brewers clubhouse that feels that they are at 100% all 18 of these days. I guarantee it. So Pat Murphy's trying to sneak in rest for guys when he can, whether it be position players, pitchers, relievers. It's a job that is tough. It's hard. And if the Brewers can come out of it with a situation where they are potentially a 1 seed, winning the NL Central, I do believe that Pat Murphy is going to win back-to-back Manager of the Year awards. I was just talking about Rookie of the Year. So on the Bob Uecker celebration, the range of ages for people who were impacted by Bob Uecker and loved Bob Uecker, it does not cease to amaze me. I mean, people younger than me, I'm 32, people younger than me know who Bob Uecker is. People well younger than me know who Bob Uecker is, all the way up to like my grandpa knows who Bob Uecker is. His dad probably knew who Bob Uecker was, maybe more as a player than a broadcaster, but they were talking about it during the broadcast on Sunday. The range of people, even just that Bob Uecker himself was, had camaraderie with. Like last year, Jackson Churio being 19, 20 years old. This, the relationship that he had with Christian Yelich was obviously very strong. You look at, they talked about it, he would have been, when he was young, interacting with players who were playing in the 1920s and 30s. And then for him to be around to talk to a guy like Jackson Churio, the degrees of separation that anybody who knew Bob Uecker could have been from any number of all-time professional great baseball players. Bob Uecker could have bridged that gap for a lot of people. With the celebration, the Brewers, quote, retired his number, but instead of a number, they put up a microphone for him. I felt that was a perfect way to kind of commemorate for the long term for Bob Uecker as far as his broadcasting career goes. And then the last thing that I noticed, they renamed the media area for American Family Field. They named it the Bob Uecker Broadcast Center. Just some really cool things to see that the Brewers did in celebration of Bob Uecker, who is a one-of-one type person. They had tons of tributes coming on Sunday. Robin Yount and George Brett in the booth together. They had his co-star from the Major League movies. Really, really no shortage of people who knew and were impacted by Bob Uecker. Kim said her 12-year-old daughter knows who Bob Uecker is. I mean, basically, if you have ever been in the state of Wisconsin for a baseball season, you know who Bob Uecker is. So I'm gonna let Jake jump in, and I'm gonna let Jake give his thoughts on the Uecker celebration and anything that he wants to say about the Giants series as a whole. So I'm gonna welcome Jake in. And Jake, I just finished talking about the Giants series. I'm just kind of going through where we're at with the Bob Uecker celebration. So if you want to start with your thoughts on Bob Uecker, and then you can give your thoughts on the Giants series as a whole.
I'm going to start with this. Say thank you for covering for me, my man. Obviously, I got a lot of shit going on with the kiddo, and good thing I had a little 20-minute ride home because I let out some more tears after I wasn't in front of everybody. So got that all taken care of. My thoughts on Bob Uecker. That is a very heavy conversation to jump into. I'll just start by saying that Bob Uecker was more than just a baseball announcer to me. He elevated my relationship with my dad in a really, really hard part of my life where I was transitioning from, this is kind of me just being transparent. I moved in with my dad when I was in high school, and that's the year that me and you actually became best friends.
Yep.
So that was a really important year for me. And just seeing how important Bob Uecker was to my dad, every weekend, turn on the radio, and Bob Uecker's there. Every Saturday, every Sunday, cooking out. My Uecker's there, my dad's on the grill. That's what it meant to me. It meant family. And for that, I took that and I tried to pass it on to my son. And, Aiden's not really into baseball, so it is what it is. But I tried to tell him the importance of, how important Bob Uecker was to everybody. And I wrote down some quotes from Bob Uecker, if you want me to read these off for you real quick. These are just some of them. Obviously, he had an endless supply of quotes. Some of the best quotes I wrote down from Uecker. He said, "I knew my baseball career was over in 1965 when my card came out with no picture." He said, "I set records that will never be equaled. In fact, I hope 90% of them never get printed." He said, "I was acting when I was playing baseball." So I was like, that's a short one, but that's good. He said, career highlights. I have two. I got a walk off of Sandy Koufax, and I got out of a rundown versus the Mets. What? And then one that I believe kind of sets the stage for how good he was and underappreciated he was on the radio and as a broadcaster. Not only was he a great human and he really, really funny, down to earth guy, he understood what he had to do. And he said, on TV, people see it, and on radio, you got to create it. And
I love
I
that.
don't think there's anybody better than Bob Uecker. He was so good in a game of baseball that everybody calls boring and too long, and they play too many games. Getting the opportunity to listen to Bob Uecker 162 times a year was a blessing for us that I don't think that enough people took for granted. Now, I'll take a step back and I'll go back to game one real quick. Now, obviously, I wasn't here, so I don't know what you said, but
Not much. Like I said, I was up north. I was hoping I'd get reception enough to be able to watch, and that was not the case. So I really had nothing for game one and game two. Basically, the only thing I said about game one was that it was William Contreras' first ever career walk-off home run.
Yeah. So I had a few things here. So first of all, I wrote "Welcome back, Willie." That was a little emotional for me too, and I loved that the Brewers, they did such a fantastic job. First of all, this last weekend, even though they lost the series to the Giants helped us out last night, getting a loss to the Cubs. Well, we got a win, but having Willie Adames back in town, a guy who was so important for us these last 3 years, on the weekend that we're celebrating Bob Uecker was absolutely vital for me personally. Willie Adames was here, he had 87 homers in those 3 years that he was here. That's by far first on the Brewers, and of course he has to hit 2 home runs on his return, right?
Yep.
And I loved Pat Murphy's quote talking about how much he loves Willie, and it's a very long quote. And at the end of it, he said, "Well, you starting to piss me off when he hit that second home run." And I was like, "That's such a Pat Murphy quote, dude." So the other thing I wrote this game 100% emphasizes the 2025 Milwaukee Brewers. If you have not watched a single game, which I don't know why you would do that to yourself because they've been tremendous all year long, but if this was your first game watching the Brewers this year, this is the Brewers. They got a starting pitcher, Quintana, a guy who's been tossed around the league, been on a billion teams. He gives you 5 1/3, real good baseball, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 Ks. I'll take that every goddamn 5 days.
Yep.
Then you got Shelby Miller coming in, and Shelby Miller has been goddamn perfection damn near since coming onto the Brewers, by the way. What more people need to be giving him love. He's been tremendous. He's been tremendous. He comes in and finishes the 6th inning for Quintana. Gives up a walk, but he gets the 2 Ks. Aaron Ashby pitched 2 innings of 1 earned run ball. So some of this game was a little because of some wild pitches and stuff, but that's why I say that this game right here emphasizes the Brewers, because not only did they have some unlucky breaks, they picked each other up, but on top of that, they had some amazing defensive plays. Monasterio had an amazing looking like the Jordan logo grab in the 3rd inning. Andrew Vaughn with a great defensive play. The thing about Andrew Vaughn is he's still getting hits. He's not getting the home runs, but he's still hitting the ball hard. If you look at all his exit velocities over the last week, people are like, what's going on with Vaughn? What's going on with Vaughn? He's still hitting the ball 100 miles an hour.
Yep.
Damn near every at bat.
Yeah.
But they got him playing defense, man. He's really buying into the Brewers' way. He made a great play in the 5th inning.
I love that you said that, and that you said that way, because I said it during, when I was talking about some of the Cubs games. For him to be picking balls, diving to first base to get outs, I love that you said that way.
Yeah, well, again, I wasn't here, and we didn't plan this, so we're sharing a brain a little bit here. Bryce Terang absolutely showing off, dude, with the platinum glove, dude. Yeah. He runs down a ball into short right field in the 6th inning. So now you got 3 amazing top-tier defensive plays. And then Lockridge made a really, really great throw the next inning in the 7th inning to throw a guy out at 3rd base while the game was tied. That was a massive play by Brandon Lockridge there to keep the game tied. And obviously, you said this was Contreras' first ever walk-off home run. 14th of the year. And I love the quote from Quintana because he was like, man, he took so long to round the bases. I was wondering when this guy was going to touch home plate. And I was like, oh, that's funny. They probably gave him a bunch of shit in the locker room for that. And this was the 9th walk-off of the year for the Brewers and the 4th via the home run. So 4 of the 9 walk-offs were via the home run. That is the most for the Milwaukee Brewers since 2018. So the power maybe have questions for some people, but in the clutch, the power is there. That's pretty much what I took from that.
Yeah. Steve said that the Brewers can definitely use a day off. I'm glad they're doing anything they can to win games. Go Brewers, hashtag Euchre Magic. Jake, I did also hammer on this. The 18 games in 19 days it's an absolute gauntlet. I did my best to try to explain like it's the toughest stretch of the season.
By far the toughest stretch. I mean, you've already played all these months, all these games before this, and now you're having to just jam pack a bunch. It's like when you're at work, right? And all of a sudden you think you're having an easy day, and then your boss slaps 2-3 things back onto your desk, and you're like, how am I supposed to get that done in 2 hours? And he says, figure it out. Anyways, here to game 2. Peralta was on the mound versus Logan Webb, and I really like Logan Webb. I wish he was a Brewer. He feels like a Brewer. But Logan Webb versus Peralta was awesome to watch. Even though we came out on the losing end of it, it wasn't Freddie's fault. Now, we talked about this yesterday, and I was planning on bringing this up and having a little discussion with you. He needs another pitch. I'm going to say exactly what I wrote down in my notes. He needs a pitch that creates soft contact because when he doesn't have that, he relies so much on the fastball to get swings and misses and ground outs. And when he's missing high or inside, and that's what drives up his pitch count. And then he gets out of these games in 5 innings. If he had a soft contact pitch, he's going 6 1/3, maybe 7 sometimes with his strikeout stuff. It'll just make his fastball that much better. I'm not going to steal your thunder. I want you to tell the people what kind of pitch that you thought that he should have.
So we talked about it. We know that Freddie has a fastball and a curveball. He's been called fastball Freddie. He's been called Freddie curveball. And then we talked about it ad nauseum last season about him adding the changeup and using it more. What I said to you is that is often the pitch that guys use to get that soft contact is the changeup compared to the fastball. It looks the same, but it's usually 5 to 7 to 10 miles an hour slower.
Yep.
But you have certain guys whose changeup is more of a strikeout pitch than a soft contact pitch. Obviously, a guy like Devin Williams would be a perfect example of that. His changeup was not a soft contact pitch. It was a strikeout pitch.
Yes.
We are going to see Craig Yoho come up. He's going to be very similar. His changeup is not going to be a soft contact pitch. It's going to be a strikeout pitch.
Yeah, it's a put away pitch.
Yeah.
And I think Freddie just needs something that can get in on guys' hands every once in a while to get them off the barrel, to get them roll over to something to the first base or third base or to himself. And he can get people out in 2-3 pitches instead of having to go 6-7 all the time.
Yeah. So my response to that was, imagine if the Brewers could teach Freddie Peralta a sinker. They taught Brandon Woodruff while he was out to throw a cutter. Cutter was not a sinker, a cutter.
Yep.
They taught Brandon Woodruff a cutter while he was coming back from his shoulder surgery, and now he has a cutter to go with the rest of his pitches that he throws. So it's just another layer of fastball. It's what makes guys like Jose Quintana so effective. A guy that Jake and I agreed was very effective in a similar way is Quinn Priester.
Yep.
That guy can go 7 innings in a game, only throw 75 pitches because he gets so many outs early in counts.
Yeah.
So if Freddie can do something like that, he has the 94, 95, sometimes 96 mile an hour fastball. You add in a 90 to 92 mile an hour cutter that has the movement, like Jake said, it's something that can break in on the guy's hands, get him to jam, ground out to, the left side of the infield that the Brewers are very strong at defensively. I think that's something that the Brewers could and should consider in the offseason with Freddie Peralta.
Yeah. So after Freddie goes out, those are all great thoughts, by the way. I wanted to give you the floor to give that out because when we have good conversation, I'm always thinking in my head like, man, that's good content. I wish we could put that on camera right now, but it's 10:30 at night on a Tuesday.
Right.
But you know, the rest of this game, Freddie goes out in 5 innings, giving up 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 4 walks, and 6 Ks. And he has 96 pitches. Grant Anderson comes in, and I was kind of on Grant Anderson last week, but this day on Saturday was not Grant Anderson's fault, in my opinion. He didn't get any help from the Brewers defense. 2 errors in the 6th, one from Monasterio, a throwing error that allowed Adames to be safe, and he eventually ended up scoring off of a double. And then there was an error by Siegler that allowed 2 runs to come across. And from that point, it was just kind of like, when I was watching the game, I wasn't even in the stadium, and I could feel the air leave the stadium. And he faced 8 batters. Then we get to the 7th inning. Rodriguez comes in. Elvis Rodriguez comes in. He pitched 3 innings. Carlos Rodriguez. Sorry. He faced 8 batters in the 7th. He allowed a single. He got an out, a double, and a home run. Then he had a walk, a flyout, a single, and a flyout. That was the 7th inning. And then the 8th and 9th inning, he did a good job kind of, just getting a couple outs and finishing the game so we didn't have to use anybody else. But that 6th and 7th inning was really just kind of a backbreaker for the Brewers. The offense wasn't doing much. 0 for 7 runners in scoring position. Durbin did have an RBI, so good on Durbin. He's been swinging the bat pretty well as well. I wanted to give him some credit where credit is due. He started a chain of RBI chain of consecutive days here. So the Brewers ended up losing this one, but wasn't all for naught, I think. I think just using 2 guys out of the bullpen was big for them at this point because obviously they have a bunch of games after this. But then we move on to Sunday. Obviously, we talked about the Euchre game.
Yep.
Just some of my thoughts on the Euchre game. Shelby Miller is like so good, bro. So goddamn good. I'm like, dude, this guy's a monster. Holy shit. Abner Uribe introduced everybody to the new skip dance that he.
I'm gonna tell you what it is when we get to it.
He went at when he did that, and we were winning. I'm like, God damn, he's got more swag now. That's crazy. When he was doing all this, and the gun, and then rolling the dice. The rolling the dice is like the craziest Selly to me. I don't know why, but like I just think that's the coolest one. Now we got to talk about Trevor McGill, I think, here.
Yep.
Obviously, we know the news that happened today. I don't know if you talked about that yet.
I did. I mentioned it, yep.
Okay. I didn't want to, say it if you didn't mention it. But we know the news that came out today, and this obviously was the 3rd straight day that Trevor McGill pitched in this series and the 3rd straight time that he blew the save. And then we find out that he's been pitching with his arm not feeling great. And all those people that made comments now look like dumbasses.
Look like dicks.
Shocker. Also, man, it just kind of sucks, man, because you knew that McGill was out there and he looked like he was fighting, dude. He was giving everything. He was like, I just wanted to close this one out and just get this over with. And he bounced. He had no control over the curveball, dude. And that probably was the telltale sign that he was probably messed up. Because usually he's able to rein it in. Like he may bounce one, but when he starts bouncing multiple, it's like, oof.
I feel like you can kind of tell when he's bouncing them on purpose versus when he's losing control of it.
Right, and when he bounced the second one, I was just like, oh god, dude, we're so screwed. Just get out of this inning, dude.
My thing that I said with the 19 and 18 is that I would guarantee that there's nobody in the Brewers clubhouse that feels that they are 100% during all of these games.
Oh, absolutely not. So, I mean, now talking about the 19 and 18, they got to finish out the 2 games versus the Diamondbacks, right? And then they got a weekend series in Toronto. They play 1 game versus the Phillies, and then, man, September 2nd is going to be the greatest day of all time for the Brewers, dude. Because they are looking forward to that day. Yeah. Have an off day, play a couple games, and have another off day. That'll be tremendous for them. Also, if you guys are free on the 1st, you guys should all go support the Brewers because it's $1 hot dog day. I wish I could go, but I have a stinking wedding to go to. Not excited about it if you can't tell. Just continuing to talk about, the Brewers pitching here. I think Nick Mears, he's battling. He did a really good job on Sunday. I think Patrick, he looked a lot better in this outing than he has in the previous multiple outings before this. I thought he looked a lot more under control. And I have to give credit to Jung Ho Lee. I believe that's how you say it. Is that how you
Yep.
say it?
Like it might be Young Holy, but
Yeah, I was looking, I was like, it might be Young Ho Lee. He's good, bro.
he's great value, Stephen Kwan.
Yeah, like he can field and he has really good command at the plate. I was like, man,
He will not strike out. You will
no,
not strike that guy out.
no, he'll roll over it, but he ain't
Yeah.
striking out, dude. He's
Pretty
absolutely
much how Sal Frelick is for the Brewers.
Yeah, I feel that. Actually, yeah, I do feel that. Also, Yelly up to 88 RBIs. When I saw that, I was, during the game, I'm just like, man, he might get 100 RBIs, dude. That's fucking exciting, dude. Like,
I think he's
hell
going
yeah, Yelly deserves it. Lockridge with the RBIs, and when Durbin got that home run, and we were texting during the game, and we got the one solo shot, I was thinking like, all right, that might be enough cushion. We got it to, what was that, 3-1 at that point, or was it tied still? I don't remember. I think it was tied still. But the Brewers went 3 for 13 runners in scoring position. So obviously, on this day, you would have preferred a 5 for 13, but didn't happen. And Brewers are just going to be on the struggle bus here for the next couple of days, honestly. Especially Toronto, dude. Toronto is good at home. That's going to be a tough game.
Yep. All right. So as we move forward into the Diamondbacks series, we get to Monday's game, and Brandon Woodruff allowed a walk and a single. The single was a miscommunication between Andre Monasterio and Isaac Collins on a blooper. In that situation, there's no gray area here. Isaac Collins needs to make that call. It's a rookie thing, but as the outfielder, you are the one coming in on the ball. Andre Monasterio is going out. That is the responsibility of the outfielder. Like I said, there's no gray area. You draw the line. That is the outfielder's ball.
Yeah.
So Woodruff had to throw 18 pitches, but there was no damage. Bottom of the first inning, the Brewers had 1, 2, 3 inning, but I did like their plate discipline. Reggie, welcome back. I like their plate discipline in the first inning. All three of the batters that got out, which was Sal, Contreras, and Yelich, I believe, all three of them were in 3-ball counts. So seeing the ball well. Bottom of the third. This is where this game gets super fun. So the Brewers went 6 up, 6 down for the first 2 innings, and then they went 6 straight hits.
Yeah.
Isaac Collins had a leadoff double, the Brewers' first hit of the game. Blake Perkins, with good plate discipline, was down 0-2, got back to 2-2 before hitting a single. Andre Monasterio, also in a 2-2 count, had a single to get the Brewers on the board. Good hustle by Blake Perkins to get to third base on that single. Bryce Terang, down 1-2, hits a bloop single, makes the Brewers up 2-0. William Contreras got to a 2-2 count, the 4th straight 2-strike hit. 4 straight hits in the bottom of that third inning on Monday with 2 strikes. Hits a slicer that kind of rolls into the gap. The center fielder couldn't snag it. Christian Yelich had a single to left field, a first pitch single to left field, and made the game 4-0. Andrew Vaughn drew a walk, and Sal Frelick had an RBI ground out. That ended the starter's day for the Diamondbacks. The guy that came in, they talked about it a lot on the broadcast on Monday and yesterday. The guy that came in relief for the starter on Monday did a good job of helping the Diamondbacks bullpen. The Brewers need a day like that.
Yeah.
Did see good job by Woody to get a 1-2-3 4th inning after the Brewers put up that 5 spot. Andre Monasterio tallied another run in the bottom of the 5th with a solo shot on a 2-2 count. He fouled off 2 pitches before a 404-foot, 104.6 mile an hour exit velocity home run. That would have been a home run in all 30 ballparks.
Yeah, it was crushed.
Brandon Woodruff responds again in the 5th inning with 3 strikeouts, just painting with his fastball.
Mm-hmm.
The top of the 6th, the Brewers had a single, a hit by pitch, and a single. And the Diamondbacks got them. That got them on the board. Corbin Carroll hit a tapper of an infield single, just kind of into that no man's Bermuda triangle of first base, second base, and the pitcher's mound. And Terang had to kind of rush the throw, and Vaughn wasn't able to cover in time. Just kind of one of those unfortunate, like, baseball kind of things.
Yeah, definitely.
And then after that was a first pitch home run. So it's like baseball gods, it's not all just luck over here in Milwaukee. They get unlucky too. For a tapper to end up in a single, then turn into a 3-run home run. Still nobody out. Woodruff did get 2 outs, and the Brewers were going to leave him in. But the second mound visit, you have to make a change. The second mound visit of the inning. So they had to take Brandon Woodruff in, or take Brandon Woodruff out. Aaron Ashby came in and got a 3-pitch strikeout. Nick Mears pitched the top of the 8th with 1 on and 1 out, facing a switch hitter to put him on the left side. I would say, looking it up, the numbers did not suggest that that was a great idea. To be fair, though, on the other side of that coin is a very small sample size with the switch hitter that they flipped around to hit on the left side of the plate. Very small sample size, and you can't argue with the results because Nick Mears got the out. Got a ground out and a line out to end the inning. Bottom of the 8th inning, Caleb Durbin hit another home run. Back-to-back days of the homer for Caleb Durbin, 378 feet, 101 mile an hour exit velocity. Also a home run in all 30 ballparks. No cheapies here for the Brewers. Top of the 9th inning, Abner Uribe came in the save. My personal opinion, might have left Nick Mears in to try to get the save in that situation just because he only threw 5 pitches in the top of the 8th to get those 2 outs. But Abner only needed 11 pitches to get the save. Made a really great play for the 3rd out to come off the pitcher's mound, get his glove up in the air, and make a backhand flip over to Vaughn at first base for the 3rd out. And I told Jake I thought I had a great caption for that. You've heard of Skip to my Lou. Welcome to Skip to my W.
No. Oh. That's good. You should send that to him, bro. He might use that, bro. That's fucking good, dude.
Yeah. That was my thoughts. So, Monday, what did you think about Monday's game?
I'm fucking dumbfounded right now, dude. I don't know if I can talk. That was so good. Nicely done, dude. Damn. Wow. All right. So, so good. Nice. I talked about runners in scoring position versus the Giants on Sunday, 3 for 13. Well, on Monday, they decided to go 5 for 8. That's baseball, dude. They had 5 less opportunities with runners in scoring position. They got 2 more hits. I'm telling you, that's just baseball, dude. That's the most baseball thing of all time. Brandon Woodruff, he looked a lot better to me this outing. He took his first loss of the year, his last time out. Got a win today, well, on Monday.
Yeah.
And he got 8 strikeouts, dude. And I'm like, dude, this guy's starting to look like the Brandon Woodruff that I know. I mean, he's pumping it up there every once in a while, getting the 93, 94s. But the command is just elite, dude.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I wrote down. I was like, dude, Woody's command is just next level. He has the velocity and the command. He's like Quintana mixed with Freddie Peralta in the one pitcher. The command, he has the Quintana command and he has the Freddie Peralta fire. Not quite as much, but and he has the pitch, all the types of pitches that Quintana has. I mean, he's just a veteran, dude. He knows what he's doing up there. And I love Brandon Woodruff. Aaron Ashby, that guy is good, dude. That guy can throw a goddamn baseball. I love Aaron Ashby. The thing that I thought, though, and I wrote this down, the thing that I thought about Aaron Ashby when he was coming up, I thought that we were going to be seeing more like 3-inning outings from him. Not as many like inning and 2/3. I was like, okay, we're probably going to get more like 2 and 2/3, 3 and 1/3 like outings, like actually save bullpen kind of days. But I mean, if this is where he's more efficient, I'll be okay with it. Abner Uribe, man, doing the skip again, and all these people. The only thing I saw on Sunday night was all these people talking about how Abner Uribe needs to be the closer. Abner Uribe needs to be the closer. It's like, dude, can we slow down?
Yeah.
Did we just forget like 2 months ago where Trevor McGill was a goddamn all-star representing the Brewers in Atlanta? Did we forget about that fast? That's incredible how fast people's memories are when it comes to how successful people were.
Yeah.
Mind you, I do have some thoughts on McGill. Now, he did do an interview with Sophia and a bunch of other people like Todd Rosiak and all that stuff. And he did say, because he's had this injury before, he said that this one doesn't hurt as bad as the last time. And he thinks that just, being out for the 15 days, because he's on the 15-day IL, right? Not the 10-day.
Yep.
he does think that he could come back after the 15-day stint. Now, I looked it up because I was interested when I heard about it. I looked it up. I was like, well, what is the average recovery time for this? And they said 4 to 6 weeks. That's what it says online. Now, obviously online, every time you look something up, they tell you you're going to die from the freckle on your back. So,
Yeah.
Take that for what it is. But if it was the 4 weeks, that would be September 24th. And exactly 4 weeks is September 24th. The Brewers' last game is September 28th, I believe. So if he's at 4 weeks, he's still going to be back before the playoffs start. The Brewers can hold serve and get that 1 seed. They'll have a little, another extra week for him to rest and everybody to get all the bruises and nicks and bumps all taken care of. So right now is not the time to hit the panic button on Trevor Miguel. Okay, people?
Hey, I said similar things.
Also, he's the closer.
Yep.
Uribe is the setup man.
Yep.
He's very good in that. Trevor Miguel's very good closer. We now have a couple people. We have Shelby Miller, 7th inning guy. That guy's fucking elite, dude. 7, 8, 9, lockdown. And then you have 5 pitchers that are going to be vouching to start in the playoffs because you have all these off days in between. All these guys can pitch multiple times. The Brewers are going to be fine, people. Okay? This 19 games in 18 days is really going to put a tax on how you are as a fan along with how the team performs.
Yeah,
which
I
is
like
absolutely insane for me to say.
I like that you said that, though.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah, that's a really fair point.
Christian Yelich, 2 more RBIs. He's up to 90, dude. Not that I'm counting. I really want him to get to 100.
Oh, we're gonna count because I'm gonna put it up. This is the National League RBI rankings. Number 3 right here is Christian Yelich.
I can't see that on my phone. Who's on top there?
It's Kyle Schwarber and Pete Alonso.
Well, how many does Schwarber have?
110.
Jesus, that's the MVP this year, dude.
He's the MVP. Yes, he is.
He's
Pete Alonso has 105 RBI, but Christian Yelich has 26 home runs and 90 RBI. He trails Pete Alonso, who's played 6 more games, has 23 more plate appearances, and a 7 points lower batting average. Yelich is only behind by 3 home runs and 15 RBI, behind Pete Alonso, who's going to be making probably $40 million a year next year.
Yep, he's going to get paid a lot of money.
So, yeah, we can kind of pump the brakes on Christian Yelich never paid. No, he's paid properly.
If you ask around baseball, and I'm talking real baseball people, the one household name is Christian Yelich. He's the household name on this roster. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe Contreras might come up in conversation, but if you're talking real household names,
yeah,
it's Christian Yelich. Yelich is the household name on the Brewers. So people need to show some goddamn respect. Yep. I feel like Christian Yelich is starting to enter the territory that Chris Middleton was in, where Middleton was so goddamn good and so goddamn consistent every year that people, when he would make a mistake, people would just dog him for that mistake.
Yeah.
And it was just unfair.
We're in a realistic spot where Christian Yelich could legitimately finish top 5 in NL MVP voting.
He could very easily.
I've seen recently. I've seen him around 7.
I mean, I could see that, dude. We talked about this. Now, he wasn't the one that got going first, but he was the one that carried the hot streak the longest on the Brewers and really turned the season around when the offense
makes the lineup go.
Yeah, he's the engine, So having him up to 90 RBI, tremendous. Monasterio, Terang, Frelick, Durbin. I love when multiple people are contributing. Now, the Brewers, like you said, had a big inning, and they also gave up a big inning to the Diamondbacks. And I'm watching this game, and I'm like, I know it's tough, guys, but I need you to cut this one out, dude.
Right.
You guys need this win after what happened yesterday. I really felt like they needed this win for psyche reasons. If they would have dropped 2 in a row, after how they lost, on Sunday, I would have been a little worried about the psyche. Been like, all right, you got to reel it in a little bit here. You don't want to slide too much. Now, I'm not hitting panic button or anything like that. And everybody's like, oh my God, the division leads down to 5. Oh my God, the division leads down to 6. I can't believe it, dude. The division's cooked. They're gonna lose. Do you understand how much of an idiot you sound like? There is 29 games left, bro. They're not blowing a 6.5 game lead in 29 games.
Yeah, they're not the Cubs.
They're just not doing that. They play too good a defense. They pitch too well. They hit too well. They run the bases too
Their
well.
lineup is too balanced, is what I think.
Dude, they're going to wrap
It's
up the
not like
division by the middle.
Yelich and Contreras go cold and the Brewers forget how to score runs. It's like, oh shit, there's still 7 other woodpeckers in the lineup that we have to pay attention to.
I love that because that's how it used to be, right?
Yeah.
If Yelich was having a bad day or Contreras, or when we had Adames is 0 for 3 and he has a strikeout and he grounded out, he grounded into a double play in the 4th inning when we had a chance to score some runs. Like that's how it used to be. That is not how it is anymore. So they're not going to blow the lead. They did a good job moving the lineup around. You stole my notes about Durbin having back-to-back home runs, back-to-back days, and he hit it very far. So
You can go
they
first
win
for
on
last
Monday.
night.
Huh?
You can go first for last night.
All right. Well, I told you I didn't get to watch some of this game because I had to watch my son's first football game. It's been, if you guys lived a day in my shoes, I tell you what, at this point right now, I have 32 hours of working. I had to watch my son's football game. And now I just had to bring my daughter to see her school teacher for the first time. And I cried like a gigantic baby. And it was terrible. Now, last night's game, the Miz is on the mound. He has 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 10 Ks. Really nice to see him get a big strikeout day, after he was on the IL and he struggled versus the Cubs. And then they were kind of on a pitch count with him. And he looked good to me. That was positive for me. Tobias Myers, though, there is a conversation to be had about Tobias Myers, man. Now that's another guy that he could be eating a bunch of innings. And I wrote it down, and you said it before. I was like, the Brewers need a game where the starter goes 3 innings, and then the actual starter comes in and finishes the game. They legitimately need that. And Tobias Myers would be a guy that I think would be a candidate to go the first 3 innings of a game and then having somebody else finish it. But the way that he's been looking lately, it's rough. Everybody's hitting everything he throws hard, or he's walking people. He just has zero confidence up there right now, and it makes you as a fan base when you're watching it have no confidence if he has no confidence.
It's unfortunate too because the defense let him down a little bit too.
Yep.
Isaac Collins had a 2-out fly ball in the left field foul line that allowed the 6th run to score for the Diamondbacks. It's tough, obviously. It's obviously tough to be in that situation if you're Tobias Myers and trying to have to erase that from your memory to be able to then refocus.
Yep. And I get that. And, Koenig struggled a little bit last night too, but all these guys' arms are just dead at this point, man. Starters only going 5 innings, the bullpen having to pick up 4.5 innings every damn game. It's going to start taking a toll on you. Miller, though, man, that guy comes in and gets you 4 big timeouts, dude. Big time, massive outs to close this game out. When the Diamondbacks were threatening, they've done this to us before where the Brewers had huge leads and the Diamondbacks come and rush all the way back and take the lead, and then the Brewers end up losing the game, and it's like, what just happened? We just lost in a 2-minute drill. Bunch of guys contributing again. Terang, Contreras up to 15 home runs, dude. Terang's going to mess around. He's going to make himself worth fucking $30 million a year, dude. That's all I got. Go ahead, buddy.
So I'm just going to start at the beginning. Jacob Mizorowski off to a way better start in this game than his previous 2. 13 pitch, 1-2-3 first inning. Did take 20 pitches for the second inning, but still got 1-2-3. Already had 7 whiffs and 4 called strikes, plus 11 foul balls and 2 balls in play. That equals 24 of his first 33 pitches for strikes. The third inning, still a 1-2-3 inning. A 1-2-3 walk in between the second and third outs, with 2 more strikeouts after the walk. And his location so far looked much, much better. The first hit that he gave up came on an awkward check swing at Kettle Marte's eyes that he kind of half swung at, and the ball ticked off his bat like a bunt and ended up in that little Bermuda Triangle. That was the first hit. It was hit slow enough that he beat it out, and then with 2 outs, a ground rule double and a 3-run home run. So just kind of unlucky for Jacob Mizorowski there. His final line was 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, only 1 walk, which is good. That's an improvement. Did have those 3 earned runs and 10 strikeouts. So very, very solid outing from Jacob Misiorowski. As far as offense, bottom of the first inning with 1 out, William Contreras doubled, Christian Yelich singled, Andrew Vaughn hit a sac fly to get back on the RBI train. The sac fly that he hit, 98.9 miles an hour off the bat. That classifies as a hard hit.
Yep.
Bottom of the third, Bryce Durang fouled off 3 pitches and a 9-pitch at-bat before drawing a walk. The Brewers were making Brandon Pfaadt work hard. The plate discipline, again, which I brought up in Game 1, was evident. William Contreras went from an 0-2 to a 3-2 count, turned it into a monster home run, 110.2 miles an hour off the bat, 441-foot home run for William Contreras.
Yeah.
That is a mashed baseball.
That was a home run in 31 of 30 ballparks.
Yeah. And 4 NFL stadiums for good measure.
4 NFL stadiums, for sure.
Just a monster home run, and I tweeted about it to give him the credit from going from 0-2 to 3-2 in that at-bat, getting himself into an advantageous situation, and then just pecking away. Christian Yelich single, Sal Frelick infield single, Isaac Collins had a fielder's choice, then stole second base. Anthony Siegler had a blooper. The left fielder tried for a sliding catch, couldn't get to it. Bounced off his glove. 2 more runs scored, made it a 5-0 game. Blake Perkins, another 3-2 count. He puts a single into right center. Siegler scores on that. Carroll did snare it to keep it from rolling to the wall. It would have been fun to see how long Blake Perkins could have ran if that bounced past him, but it didn't. But Brandon Pfaadt pitched 2 2/3 innings last night. It took him 80 pitches, 43 pitches in the third inning to record 2 outs.
Yeah.
You expand that to a 3 outs, that equals a 64.5 pitch inning.
Jesus Christ.
Nobody wants to face that.
No.
Like, anybody looking at that inning and seeing that it took Brandon Pfaadt, a solid pitcher in my opinion, he's kind of on the tail end of his career, but he's a decent pitcher, took him 43 pitches to get 2 outs against the Brewers. Any opponent watching this is going to be like, fuck that.
Yeah.
43 pitches to record 2 outs is absurd.
So when you brought that up last night, dude, it made me think of what day was that? I think it was Saturday. Did you see what the Yankees did on Saturday, bro? The Yankees had an inning where they were at bat for 41 minutes. In a half inning, bro. They were crushing baseballs, dude. I was like, holy shit, dude. Yeah, when I was going to bed, I turned on SportsCenter because they actually show highlights like old SportsCenter. And they showed that, and I was like, dude. So when you were talking about that yesterday, telling me that, I was like, holy shit, dude. That reminds me of the Yankees the other day, dude. That was crazy.
So as you kind of mentioned, Tobias Myers piggybacked with Misiorowski, had a clean 6th, allowed a 3-run 7th, which was capped by a Jared Koenig fly ball that Isaac Collins dropped on the left field foul line that allowed that 6th run. It did make the 2-run home run that Bryce Durang hit the inning before just that much more important. 403-foot, 101.7 mile an hour exit velocity hit for Bryce Durang. That's his 9th home run of August. So he is on one right now.
Fucking A, he is.
9 would have been his career high for a season.
Yup. Yeah,
He's got that in August.
Drug test him.
It's the top of the 8th. Jerry Koenig allowed double, single to make it a 1-run game. Brought in a right-handed hitter. Jared Koenig stayed in. Did get a called 3rd strike, and then a left-handed hitter. Got up 3-0 against him. That turned into a K. So I do give Koenig credit for those 2 at-bats. But then another right-handed hitter who is a switch hitter. Koenig got ahead 0-2 and then gave up a game-tying single. Again, the 19 games in 18 days is looming. It's really tough to be in this position. The Brewers in the 9th inning, Shelby Miller came in, gave up a leadoff double, got a pop out, then an Andrew Monasterio web gem, a great diving play. He wanted to go to third base to try to get the lead runner out. Wasn't an option because Siegler was looking at the ball at first as well, trying to make a play on it. But Andrew Monasterio popped up and made like a 1-footed falling down throw on a hop to Andrew Vaughn to get the runner at first. Dude, the Brewers do not win without that play.
I can't believe he had enough on the throw to get him out, dude. That was amazing.
Amazing. They did intentionally walk Gabe Moreno to force a 191 season. 177 career hitter to the plate. He struck out. Shelby Miller threw him some nasty splitters. And then, going into the bottom of the ninth, William Contreras had a single. They had Lockridge run for him. Christian Yelich had a good at-bat to draw a walk. Andrew Vaughn was up 3-1. He drew a walk. Bases loaded for Sal Frelick. Hits a sac fly, not deep enough. Isaac Collins comes up with one out. His sac fly is deep enough. So Brewers win, obviously 9-8. Isaac Collins gets another walk-off. The 93 pitches that Jacob Mizorowski threw was a career high. That's, again, 19 games in 18 days. This was the nobody left in the Brewers bullpen game.
Yeah.
I said it to you. I'm like, we really could have used Tobias Myers to finish this game. I'm really hoping that, like you said, that they have, one of these games where they can do the thing that they've done with DL Hall and Quinn Priester, who we can just roll right into it. Quinn Priester, his start is being pushed back to Saturday. He's got some wrist soreness, so he was originally scheduled to start tonight. The Brewers are going to use Aaron Ashby as an opener for Eric Fetty, a guy that they were already knowing that they were going to bring in yesterday, with Trevor McGill going to the injured list. So Eric Fetty is here. He was the guy that I wanted at the trade deadline last year. He went to the Cardinals instead and did not pitch well, got DFA'd, and now he is in Milwaukee. So it'll be interesting to see if the Brewers can kind of fix him. If that's the case, then I'll be excited. Obviously, the Brewers have a great track record. They deserve blind trust when it comes to pitchers.
Yeah.
The Brewers have 2 more games against Arizona tonight and tomorrow afternoon. Then, like Jake said, they play 3 at Toronto and then the first game of the Philly series. So we will have 6 Milwaukee Brewer games to discuss next Wednesday. We will also, next Wednesday, we will have a Wisconsin Badgers football game to discuss.
Yeah, we will.
So we're going to bring in Mike. And looking at the Badgers' schedule, very excited. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, Badgers, we get football. I'm super excited. They play Miami of Ohio. That is game 1. Game 2 is Middle Tennessee State. Game 3 is at Alabama. Then they are home against Maryland. Then they have their bye, an early bye, similar to the Packers. Then week 5, or their 5th game, they play at Michigan, home against Iowa, home against Ohio State, at Oregon, versus Washington at home, at Indiana, versus Illinois, and they end the season at Minnesota. So I will give you guys the floor if there are any games that you want to highlight that you are looking at specifically, and then we can kind of go through and give some win-loss head and heart record predictions like we do.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, it's no secret that the schedule is definitely a gauntlet this year. But I think, when you're thinking about like going into this season, especially after the last 1 to 2 seasons, we've kind of, have failed to like have like that identity, so to speak, right? And I think that's the number one goal going into this one season, right? We want to establish the run game again with Coach Grimes, and we want to actually start being, there's a lot of areas on defense, for example, that I think we could definitely improve on. I think if there's a coach / player that needs to really like prove themselves this year, I think it is Coach Tressel. I think you could actually argue that he might be kind of like on a watch list. Like, hey, like if you have a bad year, we might have to go a different direction, just in terms of not stopping the run, tackles for losses, sacks. But that being said, I think they made a bunch of improvements. During the off season. So I think it starts with like, during the off season, I'm looking at Iowa, Minnesota, basically the Big Ten. Let's start there. Right. I mean, Iowa specifically, who gives up 42 points to Iowa? Right. So, during the spring practices, Coach Collins, like after every single practice, he made all the players do 42 freaking push-ups after every practice, just because of like Iowa. Right. So I think you got to start with, in terms of importance, in terms of, for this program, going forward. I know there's all these games you can, say your reasoning, right? But I would start with teams like Iowa and even Minnesota. Start with your rivals, work your way up from there. But again, you can make a case for all of these. Illinois too, right? That's right in your backyard as well. But that's how I would answer that question.
So if we go and look at this, game by game, let's do the head first. So for me, looking at it, going through the Badgers schedule, From the head, I have the Badgers 6-6. I have losses at Alabama, at Michigan, versus Ohio State, at Oregon, at Indiana, and against Illinois. So I have them beating Miami of Ohio, Middle Tennessee State, Maryland, Iowa, Washington, and Minnesota. Those are the 6 wins and 6 losses I have for the Badgers on their schedule. So, Mike, what do you have from the head, and which games are you looking at?
I got 7-5.
I like it.
You call it a little optimistic, but hey, on this show we don't apologize for ever being optimistic, right? So, I obviously Miami, Ohio. I got us winning 31-13 tomorrow, covering the spread 17.5. I think it's kind of a slow start, but then we really pick it up in the second half when we stick it to them. So, Middle Tennessee, I got to win. Alabama, I think we got a tough loss on the road, where I think dealing with their receiving core, even though they do have a new quarterback starting for them, that'll be interesting to see how we adapt to that. Maryland, I do have a win. Unfortunately, we go to Michigan. Then after a bye, I did do a kind of a coin flip from my head on this, how I wanted to treat this, but I do think we go on the road and lose to Michigan. Iowa, I made this more of a pride thing for me. I think we find a way to get it done at home. Like I kind of literally just mentioned about a minute ago, these guys, this is engraved in their goddamn heads in the offseason of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ohio State, I got to win. That's part of my my bold predictions part.
I gotta schedule one of my bold predictions too.
It's part of the whole bold prediction thing. But Oregon, I have a loss. Unfortunately, that's a tough place to play. That's a very tough place to play at. Washington, another coin flip, but I did give us the W because, being at home, I know they have a big time quarterback out there that they just brought in that has a lot of hype. So it's a team to watch there. Indiana, I do unfortunately think we're going to have a tough loss on the road. Another coin flip, but I do think Indiana is going to be down a little bit this year. It's just more so going on the road and whatnot. So
I think they were a little overrated last season too.
Yes. And then Illinois, I unfortunately have another loss here too. I think Illinois could damn well come close to winning the Big Ten this year, in my view. They have damn near everybody coming back this year. They are out of the 9 out of the 10 teams starting from Bama going through the rest of the year. 9 out of the 10 teams have new starting quarterbacks. The only one that doesn't is Illinois with Luke Altmaier.
He's good.
And this is his 3rd year starting, right, in the program. But it's not just him. They got a bunch of dudes coming back, and I think Illinois is actually in for a good year. And then Minnesota, there's no way in hell I could give us a loss against them. I think we win for sure. We got to get PJ back, man. Last year was a huge disappointment with how the season ended, especially in that game. It looked like we didn't have a pulse at all out there. So we got to get that axe back. But 7-5 is what I'm going with here.
Yeah. Jake, I had 6-6 from the head. What is your head record prediction?
So from the head, I have 7-5. From the heart, I have 8-4. Going through real quick, 2 wins right away: Miami, Ohio, Middle Tennessee. We won't learn much about the Badgers from those games. Sadly, it just is what it is. First loss I have going to Bama, I put close L. I think this game's gonna be a lot closer than people think. The Badgers are gonna be dominant up front. They're gonna run the ball, and they're gonna make you earn points on defense. I have a win versus Maryland. I have a win at Michigan. I think Michigan's hella overrated. I will stand on that hill and die by myself if I have to. I have a win versus Iowa. So at this point, you're looking at the Badgers. They're 5-1. You're like, oh shit, here we go. They're gonna lose to Ohio State. I'm sorry. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. Ohio State they're the Dodgers of college football. It is what it is. They're going to lose at Oregon because that is a very tough game to play. You're talking about, at that point in the season, that's going to be back-to-back top 5 games. One at home, one on the road. That's 2 L's right there. The Badgers might be ranked versus Ohio State, to be completely honest with you, if they start 5-1. Then I have a win versus Washington. I think that'll be a close W. Badgers will be kind of licking their wounds after taking a beating in Eugene. Then I have a loss at Indiana because I feel like that's kind of a trap game in between Washington and Illinois. I do have us beating Illinois. I think the Badgers can beat Illinois. Being at home was really the factor for me. I have a close W there. And then November 29th, I'll never write down an L next to Minnesota because they don't deserve that. So I have a W versus Minnesota. I wrote down my prediction from my heart. I have 8-4 from the heart. I think they're better than people think.
So from the heart, I have the Badgers 9-3.
Ooh.
The losses that I still have them taking are Ohio State, Illinois, and Alabama. I did flip the Michigan game. They are starting a redshirt freshman at quarterback. So that's what made me flip that one as far as the heart is concerned. And looking at the Oregon game, that's another one that I flipped. I really feel that where the Badgers were with Oregon last year, and you could say the same for Penn State, they were the better team for 3/4 of that game.
Mm-hmm. They were.
Yep. So I think there's enough learning opportunity there for the Badgers to win that game, even though it is on the road. And then the last one that I flipped was at Indiana. Kind of like I just said, I do think last year they were a little bit overrated. Their schedule was a little bit easier last season, which I think helped them in their undefeated stretch that they had. So I have 6-6 from the heart, 6-6 from the head, and 9-3 from the heart. So Mike, what are you looking at from the heart?
Yeah, it's 9-3 for me as well. Basically, the games that I'm flipping is Michigan. Basically, exactly what you just said. Yes, Bryce Underwood, big time quarterback, whatever. But true freshman quarterbacks make mistakes, and I don't see why this guy is going to be any different from that. So flip that one, and then I also flipped the Indiana game as well. I'm not going to buy Indiana being a college football playoff team for 2 years in a row. I just don't see it happening at all one bit.
Nope.
And I do have Ohio State obviously winning this too. I really, really think this is a year, in year 3. Luke Fickell wants this game. You got to remember, this staff is a lot of Ohio people. They want to get these dudes. I can promise you that right now. This is circled on their calendar, as a staff too. And, going back to Tyler's point with the whole playing last year, like we were one possession away from beating Oregon, Penn State. Ohio State was damn near the same thing too, and they came at our place 2 years ago with what we had. So I think if we get a night game there again, and Cam Brown's going to be buzzing, Jake, as you said before, we could damn well be a ranked team going into that game. Anything can happen at night. So I think this is the year where Luke Fickell gets his first signature win.
Yeah. That would be before we go to bold predictions, I had it in the back of my mind since we put that this was going to be the show that we did our schedule review on. Go watch Scary Alvarez's breakdown of the Badgers schedule. He does very well. He does a very good job, I think, of how we are with being optimistic and realistic. Watch his schedule breakdown. I think he did a really good job of laying out how the Badgers could be anywhere from basically 3 wins to 9 wins on the season. So he did a really good job with that. So I wanted to give Scary a friend of the show. I wanted to give him a quick plug. So last thing before we're out of here today, bold predictions. They're always fun. Mike, you said you have a schedule related bold prediction. So do I. So rip yours, and then I'm going to say mine on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned it, going through the schedule, but my number one is Wisconsin's going to win one of the 3 big games. The big three for me was Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon. I think we win one of those games. In this case, for me, both from the head and the heart, I think the Badgers clip Ohio State at Camp Randall at home.
I went a step further, and I said the Badgers upset 4 ranked teams.
Damn.
4 out of 6 between Bama, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, and Illinois. Yep. So my first bold prediction is 4 out of 6 of those are wins.
That's solid.
I like it.
3 wasn't bold enough. So
my first one is Wisconsin has a top 10 rushing attack in the country. If you go by average per game, yards, and touchdowns.
I like it. Okay. All right, Mike, rip your second one.
So the defense as a whole is going to go from 17th in the Big Ten from last season in total sacks in 2024 to a top 1 to 2 top Big Ten team this year.
Damn.
So for perspective, right? Last season we were 17th in the conference with 17 sacks. Ohio State had 53 last season. Penn State had 44. That was 1 and 2. We're going to get one. We're going to be ranked in the top 1 to 2. I am very, very sold on the combination, like a 4-way combination of Mason Reiger. I think it's going to start with him on the pass rush. We got Daryl Peterson coming back once again. His hand's going to be in the dirt a little bit more. That's going to be interesting to watch with this defense. And then we also brought in guys like Corey Walker, who's got plenty of experience. Sebastian Cheeks, who got moved to the outside. Aaron Witt's going to be out there. Nicholas Clayton, who I talked about last week, is a true freshman, came in, gained 30 pounds when he got into spring. I know this staff is very, very high on him. He's going to be out there for third downs, I think, for a pass rush. I think they just invested way more in that space. That's going to help us propel there, right? So it starts with them, but I think you got guys like Christian Allegro are obviously going to contribute to that tacket. We're going to throw in that safety blitz here and there too, but I really think with this staff and as a whole, we invested a lot of time in going into this because, as we all know, we struggle. This is a place where we struggled last year. I think we take a big step this season going forward in that.
You can go back to last week when we went through all the transfers. The number of players that they added was heavily in the front seven.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw one out on defense. You mentioned Christian Allegro. I have one involving Christian Allegro, and that is he is the first linebacker with 100 tackles since Leo Chenal in 2021.
There we go.
I love Leo Chenal. All right, so I'm doubling down on the rushing attack, and I have Dylan Jones has the most rushing yards in the Big Ten.
There you go.
That would be amazing, actually, if you really think about it.
All right, Mike, rip your last one.
This is more so of like the afterthought, like after season, but I wrote, after all said and done, the Badgers will have at least 10 players get drafted in the NFL. Now,
10.
I wrote down 15 of them that I think that are going to be either seniors or junior, potentially going to the draft, right? So I wrote down Billy Edwards Jr., Vinny Anthony, Joe Brunner, Riley Mahlman, Jake Renfro, Lance Mason, tight end, Ben Barton, JVR Suggs, Mason Reiger, Daryl Peterson, Ricardo Hallman, that's 11.
That's a lot.
Austin Brown is 12. Preston Zachman, Christian Allegro. Last one, it was Davis Heinzen because he's a grad transfer senior as well. Now, Davis Heinzen, the guy that we brought in at left tackle, Manitowoc native, by the way, he's got the same compare him to, remember when Ryan Ramczyk transferred in from Stevens Point? He took that 1 year rental, right? Came in, started at left tackle. What does he do the next year? He's a first-round pick for the New Orleans Saints in the draft at 32. So there you go. That's how I broke it down. 10 of those dudes are getting drafted next year.
Very well thought out, Mikey. I like it.
I like it. I could see like 7, but it wouldn't be a bold prediction if you said half.
So there you go.
That's very true.
Exactly right.
Very true.
All right. My last one is offensive. Billy Edwards throws for more touchdowns than Braden Locke in 2024 and Tanner Mordecai in 2023 combined, which would be 22 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, that's happening.
So my last one is Billy Edwards throws for, it'll be at least 23 touchdowns, but that's more than Tanner Mordecai and Braden Locke combined in their 2 years.
Tanner Mordecai, what a time to be alive. I also involved the draft and Billy Edwards Jr., so this is amazing how this is all rounding up, and I got to go last on this. And this is verbatim what I wrote down in my notebook. I said, Billy Edwards says, fuck all your record predictions, and he goes 11-1, makes us go to the playoffs, and gets drafted in the second round.
There you go. I like it, Jay.
I mean, I would love it. I would love it. We don't call them lukewarm predictions, so.
Dude, I was doing the first couple, and I was like, these are cool. These are cool. I'm like, I got to have a really fun one, dude. I got to just put one out there that's just crazy, bro. So,
I like it. All right. Good job, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Next week, we will have a Badgers recap to do. So very, very excited for that, as well as the 6 Brewer games that we'll have. So thanks, Mike, for hopping in with us to go through the schedule, look at our record predictions, and give our bold predictions. We will see everybody next Wednesday and next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we will also have a Packers show. We have a Packer preview next week. So join us for that, and we will see you guys next week. Go Badgers.
Better fellas.